This is a disclaimer. The movie you're about to watch, or video, whatever you want to call this, is not to be followed as a tutorial. I am not a body man. This is not explaining body work. This is not explaining an how-to. This is me repairing something the way that I think that's going to be best. So, with that out of the way, enjoy the video. Hey guys, it's Chris here. Today we're doing a little bit of a redneck repair to the truck. Got some rusty fenders. I don't want to put $600–700 into this truck for new fenders and get into God only knows what. So, what else are we going to do? We're going to put fender flares over this rust spot. I've already done some work to this, and you'll see, and I'll show you. I didn't film any of it. I just did this a while back. So stick around with me how I'm going to fix them. This is how I'm doing it. I'm not saying this is the right way, but this is the way I'm using some fender flares to cover stuff. Okay, so this is the passenger side front fender of my truck. As you can see, this green right here, this has been all repaired, patched. In fact, from about right here down to here, that's all rebuilt. So these fender flares will go up here and cover those spots. They tuck up in there, and with one hand, there we go. That's how it's going to be. It's going to cover all this rust. We got rust down here that's starting. Now, one thing it does come up with is these fender flares. If I can flip them around, you'll see the holes in a lot of spots here. Let me get around here. See the holes right here? That's where they attach. They actually attach on the clips that go onto the fender. Well, when we get to the back and the driver's side, most of this lip is gone. In fact, it's gone right here, from about right here to here. That's not going to work. Well, they have these factory looking holes right here. Now, these are stupid in my opinion. You put like these little bolts in here, little hex bolts, and the hex bolts make it look like they're bolted on, which that's not how it is. So seeing the fact that those holes are there, and everywhere we're going to attach, it's good up here. I went to Home Depot. Home Depot doesn't sponsor me. Come on, Home Depot, sponsor somebody. I bought these. These are 1/4 inch head, hex head, by 1.5 inch screws. They're the biggest I could get to put in there, as they're 1/4 inch holes. So I got those. Actually, I think that hex head on there is actually like 3/8. And then I had to go, actually it was cheaper to go to Track Supply on this. I bought a little over 2¼ pounds of 1/4 inch washer, flat washers. These are not big fender washers, they're just regular flat washers. And then I can put the bolts through. I can't work my hands anymore. They can go in like this, which unfortunately they're a little floppy, but that's the best I could do. And then they go right into the holes like this. You still have the look of them being bolted, but it's actual function over form. Now, one thing I do have to watch for is on the back here, due to the fact that that being, you know, made to mimic and not be an actual bolt, this is recessed about 3/4 inch. So what I'll do is, since I have so many washers, I'll glue this out so it's flush and do that so it'll hold them in place. So I'm gonna get set up here, maybe do a time lapse of gluing these all together and getting these washers put up, and then we'll move on to some actually trying to get them measured. Okay, so I changed my mind. I'm not gluing the washers on there just because of the fact that it's going to cost too much in glue. I'll use a magnet or something and hold them in place. So, skipping that step, let's take to the next step here. Let's get the fender flare up here. We're going to measure this fender flare up in place because I have another thing I'm going to do underneath it. We want to make sure that the fender flare fits right where it's supposed to be. It kind of slides right up in place here. It looks like something like that is where it needs to be. I got a permanent marker here. I'm just going to trace along the body line here. And reason for that is seeing the fact that I'm going to be covering this and there's already rust on this. I'm going to try to put something on here for a rust protector. I sprayed this with Rust-Oleum, but Rust-Oleum is only going to do so much. This grayish, faded out blackish was actually from a rattle can mimicking of rhino lining from Dollar General. As you can tell, that's been on there for 2 or 3.5 years, 2.5 years, somewhere around there. It didn't last. So long term, no, I wouldn't buy it. That's a different story. So I'll show you guys what we're going to cover that with. Then we'll get the hardware over here, get our tools over here, and get that on there. So what we're using today for attaching is, you've seen the fender flare. We're using our Countryside nut driver kit. Has multiple nut drivers, impact rated. We have this Carnac flashing cement. I use this a lot for rust proofing and whatnot, encapsulating rust. It actually does really well. I've done this quite a bit on vehicles and never had a problem. I've actually done it with this truck and I've never had a problem with it. Of course, we have our cheap $49, I think it was, or $59 Ryobi impact driver. Our ever-built 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch long hex headed self-drilling screws is what they call it. Basically, it's a head, a nut-headed impact or screw, whatever you want to call it, I don't care, and a Sharpie, and of course a Harbor Freight scraper. So I'm not linking anything just because the fact that you can get this stuff at most hardware. You can buy something else. You can use actually roof tar, whatever you want to do. So we'll bring you guys back here. We'll move you back a little bit and we'll start working. So you can see the outline. So we have an idea, a rough estimate of where it's going to go on here. This line, it'll go away with time. I'm not worried about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a scoop of this tar. We're going to just make a slight film across this. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is if it's any kind of rust, this tar actually encapsulates rust. It'll protect everything, and I don't have to worry about rusting out. I know my truck's not the greatest of shape. We live in a rust belt, so I mean, I knew this coming into this truck that was gonna, well, I didn't know as bad as it was, but that's another story. So we're gonna smear this on there. You can see, especially make attention down here to where this was bare metal. and I just put some paint over it. We just want to make sure that our patches are not going to rot out and our fender flare falls off. So as I'm talking, you'll see you do this. I'm not going to bore you guys with all 4 sides, but at least you'll get to see the idea of a couple. I might time lapse some of these as well. So now, mind you, this is just my vehicle. This isn't your vehicle. So your repairs may be different. I never said I was a body guy. I never claimed to know everything. So with this being like this, you may say this is, well, Chris, that's not a valid, that's a stupid way to fix it. Well, here's the thing. Is the truck worth pulling fenders off and repairing it? No. I've repaired the frame in 8 spots, 200,000 miles. Is it an older truck? Yeah. From the 90s. In fact, there's a lot of people right now in this world that don't want this truck in existence. And for those, I say, find me another reliable truck that you don't have to worry about recalls and engine issues or transmission issues or constant problems that can't be easily fixed. And maybe I will think about buying it. So that's my little spiel lecture of the day. I'm not going in anymore. So as you can see, get her nice in there. We want to make sure we have a nice, clear, precise coating. And of course there's Rust-Oleum on there, so Rust-Oleum's going to help as well. So I won't have to worry as much, or at least some sort of coating. So get it underneath here as well. Unfortunately, that's some of it's bad there, so go about right there. There you go. So basically that's how we're doing that part. Now So I'm bringing you back here. The bolts, you've seen me start to put on a time lapse. I stopped the mill because it was just getting in the way. Had the kids have to come out and help me as well because I can't get down there on them lower ones. So we have the bolts all the way up around there. I had to actually adjust some of these upper ones. The amount of washers I put in was too many. Different washers, different thicknesses is my guess. I'm not attaching on the inner fender well. Like I said, some of the inner fender well is totally gone, so I'm not worried about that. This is mostly cosmetic, just to cover rust up for my area. So that's how I did it with this one. Now, one thing that the fender flare company, if you're going to do these properly, they actually brought in with the kit rubber seal goes across here. I put that tar underneath there. Tar is not going to go anywhere. It'll harden up, and then I don't have to worry about that stuff, especially with it being so hot out. And that black plastic is going to act as a bake oven, and it's going to bake that right on there, and then I won't have a problem. So I want to drop you or bring you guys to the back part here, and we'll go from there. I'll show you how to do that really quick, and it's a little bit easier seeing the fact that it's more uniform, and we'll go from there. All right, so we're on the back here. This is passenger side, and we're gonna do the same as front. We're gonna take and put this up here and mark around. Let's get it up there. Use my light here to hold it. Something like that. So this will give us a pretty rough idea of where this will line up. So then we can put our tar on like the way I'm doing it. See rust spot like that, that'll encapsulate that rust. I did spray it. I've had to rebuild these before. So places like this with that spray paint, you can see where it's starting to rust through. It does seem like it holds the rust, unfortunately. So let's get some tar, and we'll get to tarring this here. One thing to remember is you don't need big globs when you're working with this. You just want enough to cover it. Gives a nice little protective filming. This stuff will last longer than fluid film or anything like that. Alright, I'll bring you guys right back here as soon as I'm ready to get that installed. Okay, so I changed up my game plan a little bit. The front, I put the washers underneath the backs. The back here, I didn't. They actually tightened up okay to where they're not broken or anything. And it's solid, as you can tell. This one right there with that groove in there for the body line, unfortunately, that wasn't able to be done with what I have. I have to get a little bit longer self-tapping screw. That's fine, that's not a problem. So I'm going to do the other side here. You get the idea of what's going on. I will take a picture, and it'll probably be the thumbnail of the front, how bad it is, you know, comparisons. So I'll bring you guys back after everything's done. You've probably seen in the thumbnail, because I think this is how I'm going to have it. This is the before on the driver's side front. I put green paint on it to cover it up just while I was patching it. I threw a quick little patch down here. This is just something to hold the screw. And then right here, we have a patch on the front. Screws run around the outer part here. So I'll bring you back here when I'm done. And there you have it. That's the last one. And let's do a quick little peek, walk around here. I'll get you moved around here on the tripod. This is the driver's side. This is the last one. Thank God for the family, because they were able to help me get, especially the lure bolts. I just can't do that right now with my knee and everything. So here's the other one here. See if we can get a little bit better. It kind of looks a little goofy because I don't have that big tires, but truth be told, it's not the worst. So let's go over here to the passenger side as my mount screws up. Oop, fell in a hole. So this is the other one here. You see on the passenger side, this is the side I put washers behind. All the other ones I didn't. I realized that I could get them in there and they weren't going to break, so I didn't have to really worry as much. Now there is a little bit of a gap across the top, whereas all the other ones not. That right there, that rubber may have been able to help that out. I didn't use it just because I put that tar in there, so I don't have to really worry as much. So there you can see this side here. I still have that bolt that's out. I have to get a little bit longer one. The self tapper, I think I need like a 2-inch or 1.75 inch. Might have something lay around. I'm not worried about it right now because there's enough there that's holding it. So let's do a quick down the side here. Doesn't look too bad, I mean, for the situation. So all right, I'm gonna bring you guys here back in a quick second for my final thoughts explanation. So as we're filming under shade tree, let's explain a little bit. My hands are covered in tar, so that's something maybe you want to wear gloves if you are going to do anything. First off, I'm not a body man. I never claimed to be a body man. Second off, the reason why I did this was my area. We have a vehicle safety inspections we have to deal with. We have to meet strict criteria in certain things, and one is the body. As you can see, a lot of the before stuff, that body was just beat up on them fenders. Patches were rusting out. I had to patch over patches. If I get 2 years out of this truck more, I'm going to be happy. Right now it's, I think I've put 30 miles in this thing in 2 months at most, maybe 40 if I'm pushing it. It's not feasible for gas. I just use it for hauling anymore. I used to use it for work whenever gas was $3 a gallon less. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna sign off. I do appreciate you guys sticking around this long. This video's gonna be kind of long. I'm gonna try dragging it or getting it just as smooth as possible here and small as possible. So getting back into things, you're going to see some other videos. You probably watched the video already that I explained why I was gone and what happened. So getting back into things. Hopefully you guys are gonna, we can get some more subscribers. Maybe we can gain back some of the subscribers we lost. So with that being said, guys, just have a good one. Enjoy the summer. It's pretty nice out. I was stuck at home because of the gas and economy and everything and my injury, but whatever it is, what it is. So we'll catch you guys later. Please stay safe out there and whatever you're doing, and God bless.